This week is Parshas Pinchas, and in it we have a registration, shall we say, of Jewish men into the army for the taking of the land of Israel. And this is going to form the basis for the division of the land of Israel. Everyone will receive, who is registered, a plot which will become their ancestral plot of land. And the daughters of Tzlafchad object to that. They say that their father had no sons, and why should his name be lost simply because he only had daughters? They say he died for his own sin. He was not among those that rebelled against God in the rebellion of Korach. So Moshe Rabbeinu takes their case before Hashem. Hashem says it's what they're saying is correct, that they should get a plot of land, and that inheritance should go to women as well as men in the case of a man who has only daughters and no sons, rather than going to the nearest male relative, his brother, so to say. What we see in Yiddishkeit is the idea of clearly defined roles for men and women, and it's, so to speak, a man's world. The man is supposed to be devoted to pursuit of knowledge of what is right and wrong, and giving testimony to the precepts of the 5 books of Moses. And his wife is an extension of him and his prime helper, and she's to help him primarily with worldly affairs. Specifically, she's supposed to maintain the house, keep it neat and clean, raise children, cook and clean and make clothes. In the case of a man, there is a famous machlokes in the Gemara between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Shimon as to whether a man should be exclusively devoted to study, meaning that he shouldn't engage in physical work at all, is the position of Rabbi Shimon, and he makes a case. The conclusion is given by Abaye, who says that there were a lot of people who tried to do it like Rabbi Shimon and they didn't succeed, and there were many who did it the way Rabbi Yishmael, saying that they worked and they learned Torah as opposed to purely learning Torah, and they succeeded. In the case of a woman, it's the what I described comes basically from the Mishnah in Kesuvos, 5th parak, 5th Mishnah, where it says that these are the jobs that a woman is obligated to do for her husband, and if a man wants to hire servants to help her, he may do so. However, he shouldn't take away all of her work, because Batalah, brings her to shi'umum, that she's just going to be very bored. The relationship is explored in the last parak of Mishlei, Proverbs, where it has the the song Ashes Chayil, Valiant Woman, where most of it is talking about how she's a good manager of her household, and she's a very good businesswoman. She's also respected by her children, and she's also she's wise and she's kind. The idea is that though that basically she's an Ezer Kenegdo, she's a helper opposite her husband. Which brings us back to the Benost Slavkad, where essentially they're being traced miyuchas to Yoseph, and the commentaries say that it's because Yoseph had a great love of Israel, and they inherited that characteristic from him. In the case of their father not being among the rebels with Korach, it talks about Korach saying that the earth swallowed him up, and not only was he swallowed up, but his household. Ibn Ezra says, well, that includes the wives of the band of Korach, and their children, and their babies. And what we see in the Chumash is the concept that, to a certain extent, the human condition may stretch over several generations. It's as if a man and his son to his grandson, his great-grandson, are all considered the same being. And it can be for good or for bad. You also have the concept of that if a person is bad, their mission in this world can be given to somebody else. In Psalm 109, David HaMelech, talking about the curses, he says, you should take this person's mission away, tafkido, and give it to somebody else. We see something like that happening with the Leviim and the Bechorim, where the original people who were supposed to be assisting the Kohanim and being the teachers of the children of Israel were supposed to be the firstborn of each family. But in the incident of the golden calf, where the Levim showed superior love of God, that mission was taken from the firstborn and given to the Levim. So what we see is that the mission of a man can be carried out through his daughters. The expression is that behind every great man is a woman. And what you will see is sometimes you'll go to a shul and you'll have a very good rabbi, and the Rebbitzin is sitting in the front row of the shul, and if you pay attention, the rabbi is leading the service and leading the congregation in a way that will please his wife. So to speak, his greatness is based on how she is shaping him. You have the son-in-law of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein was the Gadol Ador, and his son-in-law Rabbi Moshe Tendler, considered by many also to be the Gadol Ador, has much of Rabbi Moshe Feinstein's intelligence and character. It's as if Rabbi Moshe Feinstein's daughter knew what type of man to look for and how to shape him into the image of her father. And when you take also a look at the Rebbes of Chabad, it's not always the son succeeding the father. At times, it's a son-in-law who is a relation who is succeeding the father. And in the case of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, he's the great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov. However, his mother and his mother's mother, that's where the line goes through. It goes the Baal Shem Tov to his daughter, to the daughter's daughters, to Rabbi Nachman. And what you say is that at times that a woman can be the carrier of her father's tradition and find a man and make him into the image of her father, especially if he was a very great man.